Hello, friends. I want to talk to you today about Carl Jung, Carl Gustav Jung. He was born in 1875, lived a rich life till 1961. He was born in Switzerland. His grandfather was a doctor. His father was a pastor, and he himself wanted to become an anthropologist or an archaeologist first, but he had to move to another university, and they didn't have funds to actually pay for his university outside of where they were living. And so he went to medical school in Basel, Switzerland. He was impressed by certain books that he read, and Crafts Ebbings is the name, one of the psychiatrists that talked about sexuality and psychopathology, and he was kind of fascinated by that. Originally he wanted to become a pastor, but then he decided to go into medicine after he came into contact with some of the literature. He was a thoughtful person, quiet, withdrawn child. His parents, did not really get along that well. His mother appears to have had some kind of a mood disorder, and she was withdrawn to her room, sometimes would make strange kind of statements, was hospitalized and went away for some time, and then he never really quite had a strong or a close relationship with his mother. She remained an enigma to him. His father died when he was young, and then the relatives helped out with his medical school and other things. And gradually he did graduate, and he went then to Zurich and worked with the famous Eugene Bleuler. Lohler is how they pronounce it. And he's Bleuler. This is the man that had coined the term schizophrenia. So he worked with a famous psychiatrist, came into contact with Freud, his ideas, and was very much deep into his own thoughts, and sent Freud some of his works having to do with the interpretation of words. And Freud had published The Interpretation of Dreams that he in 1899, and he had read that also. And so they began an exchange of communication, and a friendship developed, and they shared ideas. They were on the same intellectual plane. They shared many of the same ideas and concepts. Freud later diverged. They collaborated for about 6-7 years, and then they diverged in their thoughts. Freud was very impressed by Carl Jung. In fact, he made him the president of his International Psychoanalytic Society, and for life. So that's saying something. He had wished that he would take his concepts and ideas and spread them to the world. And Carl Jung did take his ideas, but he added his own ideas, and he took his ideas about the conscious, unconscious, the psyche, and enriched the field with many new concepts. As I mentioned, he loved the science of anthropology, the study of different cultures, and how human beings behave in different contexts. And what he kept noticing again and again was that there was often a common theme or a motive that existed in different cultures that had no contact with each other. And this gave him the idea of the collective unconscious, the universal archetypes, the collective unconscious being a species-specific knowledge that's innate, and that is has to do with primitive fears, ideas, and concept, images, instincts that we collectively share with all of the species members. So that was a great contribution that he made. He also had many other interesting ideas such as synchronicity, and he tied it into the collective unconscious and synchronicity or purpose. When things happen that are together by chance, but they're related in meaning. And he kind of thought that sometimes those things were more than just mere coincidences. I was a very religious, soulful man. As I mentioned, he wanted to be a pastor. And, he went through his life, he delved into ideas. He expanded on his ideas about the human mind throughout his life and was productive till the very end. His wife, he married her in 1903. Her name was Emma, and she was very supportive. In fact, she was like his secretary, and later became a psychoanalyst in her own right, I believe. And so Carl Jung, in that sense, has made a significant contribution. His work cannot be ignored. It should be read. And there's much to be gained over there. I think he was on to something. He had the pulse of the universe. He had felt it, and he made some very piercing, insightful observations. He was brave also, because it was not easy for people to disagree with their mentor, Freud. In this case, Freud was very territorial about his ideas. And in fact, they never spoke after their rift. And so he was courageous in that sense. He was almost fearless, as Freud was, in expounding upon his ideas. And I think he advanced the science of the human mind, human psyche, and if you want to call it the human soul. And he expanded it, he made it richer, and gave us many useful ideas and concepts that we are still exploring. They have been the basis of much influence in literature, in movies, and psychiatry, of course. So when you hear the name Jung, think about his contributions and the great advances that he made in terms of understanding our collective human nature. Okay, thank you. You take care. Bye.